Back. In this video, we are going to create our first job definition. So let's get started. We're going to create a new package here called config and going to put our job config into that. So let's create a new class. Let's make it as Java config. And first thing, you have to decorate it with a configuration. So just go ahead and add this annotation. Next, we have to define the job. So let's create a job here. So it's going to be of type job. Let's call it as post job for now. We're going to start with a naive example, but then later we're going to really have a good sophisticated pipeline for jobs. So for getting started, I think these kind of namings and this kind of skeleton design is okay. Later we'll give it better appropriate names. And the way you create a job is using the job builder. So you have to use the job builder here. And you have to supply two arguments to this. If you can see, there is a name and a job repository. So we need a job repositories. This is the DAO layer which is going to talk to the database table. So let's wire that in. So I'm going to use public find in, private find in, job repository. And let's inject it using a constructor, right? So we're going to pass this as the second argument, and first name is the name of job. So let's call it job1 and let's pass in this. So that is good. Then we have to give it the step. So if you can see, we have to give a step definition here. So let's just skip that and let's call it a step 1. We don't have it yet. And then we'll do a build, right? So let's go ahead and create this step. So first of all, we have to mark it as beam and you have to create the step now. So again, I'm going to use public step. And let's call this as step 1 for now. And similar fashion, we have got a job builder. So here we have the step builder. So again, if you check the constructor here, we've got string name and the repository. So we're going to pass the name of the step and then the repository. So repository, we can just copy it from here and then the step name. So again, I'm just going to give step 1 here. Then comes the next interesting definition of a step, that is the task that it is going to do. So for now, we are going to simply have a step which is printing one single line on the standard output. So let's go with the tasklet for now. So tasklet is a sort of a mini step wherein you want to do something, you want to execute something, and it's sort of not in a reader, writer, or processor fashion. So it's simply do and forget. So for that, tasklet is great. So let's just have a look at what the signature is. We've got the tasklet here and the platform transaction manager. So what we'll do is we have to provide the tasklet. So let's create an object of this. But if you see, task list is an interface. So it's asking us to override one method here, which is the execute method, which is the task that we want to execute should be defined here. So that's great. But let's focus on the second argument now, which is the platform transaction manager. So we have to provide an object of this. So let's create a definition here. And it's going to be platform transaction manager. And it's going to be wired in for us automatically. So let's remove this constructor and let's create a fresh one with both of them. It's good. I should probably have this in the presentation mode for you to have a better look. So yeah, I think this is better now. So we've wired in the job repository, we've wired in the transaction manager. Now we have to complete our steps. So first let's mark it as being. And now to get rid of the compilation failure, you have to inject this here. So step 1 is going to be injected here. So this is fine now. Now coming to this, we've got the tasklet, but it's sort of not, first of all, it's not built. So let's build it. So as you can see, the compilation failure has gone, but let me just format this. If you see, we've got repeat status as one of the enum getting passed. So it actually gives a signal to the tasklet that this task is still continued or is it finished. So in our case, we just want to write something and then forget it, right? So we can do a simple signal of finish. Yeah, but before that, we want to print something. So before returning, let's just write a small sysout onto the console. Let's say tasklet got executed. So we expect to see this message getting printed in the console, and then we want our task to be finished. So it's going to be as simple as that. Just print this line and the step is finished. There is only one step in this job. So this job should be finished after printing this line on the console. That is our declaration. This is how we declaratively inform Spring Batch that this is my job design, this is my step design. And since there is only a single step, there are no chained steps here. So it's going to simply print this and finish the job. Again, we went for tasklet because we have to do something very small and it's not a sophisticated read, process, write mechanism. So for those kind of situations where you don't have to do any sophisticated pipeline, tasklet is the best approach. So as you can see, IntelliJ is giving me a suggestion to replace this with Lambda. So it's going to make the code look cleaner now, and I'm going to do that. So we've had our definition of job and step ready, and now we are ready to see this in action. Before that, I just want to call out that if you press Ctrl S, can you see this unused imports are not getting cleared? So there is a way you can do that. So I'll just go to my settings here, Let me just get out of presentation mode first. Yeah, so just go to IntelliJ settings and just search for save. Can you see actions on save? You just have to check these 4 boxes if not already. Hit apply and hit OK. And just make a small change to a file. And now if I press Ctrl S, can you see the unused imports are gone? So it makes your file look very clean. So we've got the configuration ready now. Also, one thing to note is that this configuration will it will be auto scanned by Spring, but it has to be inside the base package. So if you've not followed this package structure, then you have to explicitly give the component scan instruction using annotation or any other ways of configuration. But I am sticking to the default base package and creating all my configs, all my beans inside the nested package. So I don't have to do that. So if you're doing exactly what I do, you don't need anything else. We can just run this application. So let's run this application. And as you can see, we have this tasklet that got executed. So if you see the log message here, it's saying that simple job name, job 1 launched with the following parameters. We didn't give it any parameters, guys, if you can remember. Our parameters were empty. And executing step 1. So this is where the name of the bean comes into picture. And we've got step 1 got executed in 5 milliseconds. That's all the time it took to print this. And then we have got simple job name completed with the parameters this, and the status is completed. So that's how you run your first job. I think this is a good starting point. Very quickly, we are going to go far from this naive example and start some real custom, real life examples of jobs in the upcoming lectures. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will hope to see you in the next one.